Hi guys, the toppers are not made overnight. Many tireless hours, many tireless days, weeks, years create a topper. If you want to be a topper, if you want to score more in your board exam, you need to work very, very hard and you need to spend those tireless days, weeks, months, and years. So you have no enough and more time at your disposal. Make use of the time and come with the flying and colorful results. Fine. uh, See, I have some informations to share with you. You have to, compulsorily attend the live classes that we have once in 2 weeks. So it is scheduled on 19th August now, 12 o'clock, 12 to 12:45 in the noon. It is very, very compulsory, and you need to attend these classes. And this is a revision class, as well as this is the time that you can ask your doubts. And we are very closely monitoring your attendance. No, some of you are very, very regular. Some of you have not so far attended this class. It's almost 3 4 months. No, you have not put your presence, whether you are really seriously worried about your class 12th or not. We are not very sure. Please, all of you must attend this live stream unless and until you have some no emergency and your time is not know exactly available for you, then it's fine, it's understandable, but it cannot happen every week, every time. So you have to attend this live stream and you have to watch the videos that we are uploading in the YouTube. This is the class that we have. Whenever we resume our normal classes, these chapters are not going to be taken as we are taking it now. We will be just revising it and having some test and making some refreshes, and that's it. It's not going to be like this. So these videos are as equal as any normal class can be in a normal year. So I request all of you to attend the live stream classes and watch these videos without any mistake, without any this or not is that missing it, without a miss. You have to watch this. And um, and one more thing, no uh, we may not we cannot take it lightly, and I'm trying to I'm going to introduce a new thing. It is being even told to us from the school side that you have to write the question answers, and please take a photo of your question answers. Not all the questions, at least two or three questions which you may find, which you may require some corrections. Please click those questions and answers, and send it to me through study base app. Okay, so if now we are starting it from this lesson number 7. Okay, so theme 7 विजयनगर एम्पायर का जो क्वेश्चन आंसर्स है, आप इस पूरे सप्ताह में आप मेरे को भेजोगे. So you some of you need not send all the answers. I know some of you are writing very well. If you are very sure that this answer is correct and you don't require any correction, then please don't send those answers. If you need a correction, if you need some no some correction into it, and you need somebody's guidance, the teacher's guidance, then you must send the answers to the teacher concerned. Then the person, the teacher concerned will go through your answers, and we will give you the no we will help you out. Okay. Fine. And it is compulsory. You need to at least in a week, at least minimum 2 or 3 questions आपको भेजना ही है. You may be no you may I am very good in answer writing. Okay, no problem. Even then आप minimum एक maximum 3 questions तो आपको एक सप्ताह में भेजना ही है. It's compulsory for history. The rest of the subjects, yes, the teachers will tell you through their video. Otherwise, you are supposed to send. Fine. With this small piece of information, we are getting into our chapter. We are into the seventh chapter, and we have almost completed half of the chapter. We have done some of the important topics like apogee of the Vijayanagara Empire, and on the climax of Vijayanagara Empire. Then we talked about the fortification of Vijayanagara Empire. Then we talked about water resources. So some of the important topics we have touched and we have learned. Fine. So any doubt, you are most welcome to ask me through StudyBase app. You can type your doubts and ask me. Otherwise, when you have the live stream, you can ask me. Okay. This week on Wednesday, 19th August, we will be revising the chapter. This one, Bhakti movements. Okay. Bhakti and Sufi traditions. Theme number 6. Fine. We are to the next topic called Royal Center. See, Vijayanagara empires, the whole, the environment or the map is divided into the whole, kingdom or empire is divided into urban core, royal center, sacred center. So, okay, these are the three, divisions that it has. We have seen somewhere this. I'm just yes, we have the map, or we can say the plan of Vijayanagara. Yes, this is the figure plan of Vijayanagara. It has got, see, sacred center, royal center, and urban core. Urban core is the place where the residents of the empire live, and the sacred center is where the most of the temples are constructed, and you have royal center where the palaces, the king and its close allies and the family members, they all live. So it is being fortified. This whole area is being fortified into 7 walls. All this we have studied. Fine. So now urban core we have studied, and we have the evidence of even Muslims living together, even merchants from merchants having trade in urban core में हमने देखा था. Chinese porcelain even being found here suggests that areas may have been occupied by rich traders. Muslim residential people also, tombs and mosques were located there, and even temples. That mandabas found, their architecture mandabas found in the temples of Hampi, वहाँ पे भी मिलते जुलते हैं. So I think one of you asked a doubt, whether Vijayanagara Empire and Hampi both are same. See, Hampi is a village in Vijayanagara Empire where the temples are found. Hampi is the place where most of the temples like Virubhaksha temple, Vitala temples are found, and that is a village in Vijayanagara Empire में एक village है वो. That's it, Hampi. Whereas Vijayanagara Empire, it's a broad name for the whole area which covers, the Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, mainly Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh, even part of some Tamil Nadu and all this Kerala and all these places. Fine, even some parts of Maharashtra also. So that is Vijayanagara Empire. Hampi एक छोटा सा एक गांव है जो विजयनगर एम्पायर में है. That's it. Don't get so much confused into it. Okay. Royal Center. The Royal Center was located in the southern western part of the settlement plan में हमने देखा था ये southern west side में है. And although designated as a Royal Center, it include almost 60 temples. ये one marker के लिए बहुत important है. Question आ सकते हैं, misleading question statement. आपको पता है misleading कैसे पूछा जाता है. 11th में आपने बहुत देखा है. So रॉयल सेंडर डस नॉट इंक्लूड एनी टेम्पल्स. अगर एक स्टेटमेंट है वो स्टेटमेंट एब्सोल्युटली गलत है, क्योंकि इट इंक्लूड्स ओवर 60 टेम्पल्स. इवन रॉयल सेंटर में भी टेम्पल्स है. क्लियरली द पैटर्नेज ऑफ टेम्पल्स एंड कल्स वाज important for rulers, we know, or trying to establish and legitimize their authority through association with the divinities. Also they have no they legitimize their rule, their authority with the association with God. They say that I am one with God and I am ruling you. So it is that is why they give patronage also to the temples and all that. Nothing to worry. Just one marker wo underline kar lena. Baki leave it. About 30 building complexes have been identified as palaces. No, after almost 30 buildings. These are relatively large structures that do not seem to have been associated with ritual functions. कोई ritual functions और building से कोई लेना देना नहीं है. But one main difference, this is one marker के लिए बहुत important है आपको, या difference between temples these palaces and temples. Okay, the palaces and temples, the one difference between these structures, that is palaces and the temples, is that the latter means the temples were constructed entirely of masonry, whereas the superstructure of the secular buildings was made of perishable materials. तो temples जो है वो entirely masonry है, which cannot be which cannot be destroyed. A strong material, maybe pillars, stones, and and all that cementing materials. Whereas here, perishable materials like brick, which can be very easily destroyed, which can be very easily destroyed. So that is the main difference. So अभी तक हमने दो ही important बात देखी, एक है वो temples. Even the royal center includes temples. Then we talked about the difference between the palaces, that is secular buildings, and the temples. ये हमने देखा है. Now we are getting into this. See, this royal center includes three important structures. One is Mahanavami Dibba, the other one is Audience Hall, the next third one is Lotus Mahal. Okay, these are the three structures which are included in the royal center. So we are going to see all the three, elaborately. So some of the more distinct structures in the area have been assigned names based on the form of the buildings as well as their functions. Okay, the king's palace is the largest of the enclosures, but has not yielded distinct evidence of being a royal residence. Okay, okay, that the king's palace is the largest building. Okay, now it has two of the most impressive platforms. Called this king's palace has got two of the most, that is royal center has got the most impressive platforms, usually called as audience hall and the Mahanavami Dibba. These are the two impressive platforms we have. The entire complex is surrounded by high double walls with a street running between them. Sentence आप छोड़ सकते हैं. What are the sentences you have to take? First, you have to take the king's palace is the largest of the enclosures, but has not yielded definite evidence of being a royal residence. हमको कोई एविडेंस नहीं मिला है कि ये रॉयल रेसिडेंसी ही है, लेकिन हम मानते हैं कि लार्ज होने के कारण ये किंग्स पैलेस हम मानते हैं. बट ठीक है, वही सेंटेंस का मीनिंग है. But it has got two most impressive platforms, Audience Hall and Mahanavami Dibba. Now, the Audience Hall, we are going to talk about the Audience Hall. Audience Hall is the high platform. Okay, up to here. It's a high platform with slots for wooden pillars at close and regular intervals. Okay, it has got wooden pillars very closely, regularly kept. It had a staircase going to the second floor. Okay, audience hall में नीचे wooden pillars then you have the staircase steps to go to the second floor, which rested on the pillars. Okay, the pillars being closely spaced would have left little free space, and thus it is not very clear why this hall was used. ऐसा लगता है कि वहां पे कोई इनफ स्पेस नहीं है, पिलर्स इतने पास पास में हैं, और हमको नहीं लगता है कि यहाँ पे कोई प्रोग्राम होने वाला और उसके लिए ये कोई कुछ ऑडियंस या हम बैठ के कुछ कुछ एंटरटेनमेंट देखने वाले हैं, ऐसा कोई मतलब हमको नहीं लगता है, क्योंकि द पिलर्स आर वेरी वेरी क्लोजली कंस्ट्रक्टेड. there is no any enough space for anything to happen there. So that is the reason that audience hall का मकसद पता नहीं हमें, why this hall, for what this hall is used, the archaeologists are not very sure of. So that is all about audience hall. Now we are getting into the another important structure, that is Mahanavami Dibba. This is an important, very very important question है 3 marker के लिए. So it's a massive platform rising from the base of 11,000 square kilometer. This is Mahanavami Dibba. It is given here picture 7.11 Mahanavami Dibba. So this is a massive platform rising from the base, from the ground to the height of 40 feet. There is evidence that it supported wooden structure. ये इसके ऊपर जो है नीचे पूरा made of stones and all that, but it has got a wooden structure on the top. Okay, so audience hall had the wooden pillars at the bottom, whereas here Mahanavami Dibba is having the wooden structure on the top. So the base of the platform is covered with the relief carving. So it is made out of stone, and stone has got lot of sculptures drawn on this. Okay, so these are the examples of carvings on the Mahanavami Dibba. ये carvings है, ठीक है, sculptures. ये जो फाउंडेशन है, बेस नीचे है, स्टोन है, उसमें ये सब कार्विंग्स आपको देखने मिलेंगे. पेज फिगर 7.12. So that is Mahanavami Dibba. Okay, so that is about, so this is the structure of Mahanavami Dibba. Now we are getting into the rituals associated with. Rituals associated with the Mahanavami Dibba probably coincided with the Mahanavami, the great ninth day of the 10th day Hindu festival during autumn months of September October, namely Dashera in North India, Durga Puja in Bengal, and in South India it is called as नवरात्रि और महानवमी इन साउथ इंडिया पेनिनसुलर इंडिया मीन साउथ इंडिया तो ये महानवमी दिब्बा इसमें एक रीजन है क्यों ये बनाया गया वेरस ऑडियंस हॉल का कोई ये नहीं है यहाँ पे हमें मतलब कोई प्रूफ नहीं है बट वी हैव द नो we can consume or we can no we can come to the understanding by looking at the name and all that the rituals associated with this during the day of that Mahanavami, the ninth day of the 10th day festival. The festival is known as Dashera in North India, and it is called Durga Puja in Bengal, and it is called Mahanavami or Navaratri in peninsular India. Okay, so the Vijayanagara kings displayed their prestige, power, and suzerainty on this occasion. Suzerain means are showing their authority. Okay, on this occasion. So on this day, the kings are supposed to display all this, their power, their authority, and everything. Now, what are the ceremonies conducted during this Mahanavami Dibba? Questions about Mahanavami Dibba kuch bhi aa sakta hai. According to the question, you have to write. So, we have discussed about the structure, we have discussed about the rituals, and we are going to see ceremonies performed on this day. On this day, it include the worship of the image, worship of the state horse, and the sacrifice of the buffaloes and other animals, dances and wrestling matches, and processions of caparisoned horses and elephants and chariots and soldiers, as well as the ritual presentations before the king and his guests by the chief nayakas and subordinate kings marked by the occasion. These ceremonies were imbued with deep symbolic meanings. On the last day of the festival, the king inspected the army and the armies of the Nayakas in grand ceremony in open field. On this occasion, the Nayakas brought rich gifts, and the kings also, no, as well as the stipulated tribute. जितना उनको एक साल में देना है, वो stipulated tribute. ये सब वो नायकास देते हैं. तो इतने सारे no ceremonies, all this, no, it looks like that, no, when in a movie called Bahubali, no, I think part two, when the voting ceremony when the king takes oath the the respect that they show actually the Mahanavami Dibba के दिन जो ceremonies है यहाँ से ही inspiration मिला होगा director को and he has just whatever is written in this paragraph has been just visualized in a movie called Bahubali the conclusion second part में I think that I assume it's not real. I assume because this is about Vijayanagara Empire. This is about Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh. This is about South India, and the movie is made in from the director from South India. So you must have read all this, and you must have just implemented into the visual scenes. So I also assume like this. If I get a chance, I would like to talk to that person, the director in person because this is the whole scene that we talk about procession worship and buffaloes giving sacrifice before this one dance and wrestling then procession horses are there elephant chariot soldiers then he is supervising inspecting the army and he is walking in front of them and all that grand ceremony hota hai and even gifts and everything is given it looks like that scene so if you remember that scene you can write all these answers but some words you have to remember. So, was the Mahanavami Dibbas that stands today as the center of this elaborate ritual? Scholars have pointed out that the space surrounding the structure does not seem to have adequate for elaborate procession armed men. यहाँ अभी जो महानवमी दिब्बा प्रेजेंट जहाँ पे जो स्ट्रक्चर है वहाँ पे इतना स्पेस नहीं है ये सब सेरेमनीज कंडक्ट करने के लिए procession of all this like some other structures in the royal center it also remains as an enigma something that has to be really understood or as इसका real meaning अभी भी उतना अच्छे से हमें नहीं पता but we have some or the other proofs to tell that this is a Mahanavami Dibba mentioned in the during the rituals of Navaratri and this is the ceremony these are the ceremonies conducted during this time लेकिन ये स्ट्रक्चर के सामने इतना स्पेस नहीं है ये सब कुछ हो सके फाइन सो दैट इज ऑल अबाउट महानवमी दिब्बा वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन ओके रॉयल सेंटर के बारे में एक लॉन्ग आंसर आएगा अगर आएगा तो आपको ऑडियंस हॉल के बारे में एक टॉपिक एक हेडिंग डाल के लिखना है, महानवमी दिब्बा हेडिंग डाल के 4 4 5 पॉइंट्स लिखना है. Then the next we have another very important structure, that is one of the most beautiful buildings in the royal center is the Lotus Mahal, so named by the British travelers in the 19th century. ये नेम विजयनगर एम्पायर इन्होंने नहीं दिया, ये ब्रिटिश एम्पायर से ट्रैवलर्स ने दिया, देख के बहुत ब्यूटीफुल था and looks like a lotus, so they gave the name. While the name is certainly romantic, the historians are not quite sure about what the building was used for. See again, all the buildings in Vijayanagara Empire, हमें अभी भी historians को कोई clear cut idea नहीं है कि इसका purpose क्या होगा. So that is why even Lotus Mahal का purpose, the name looks like very very romantic, but doesn't look like. So this is Lotus Mahal, photograph of Lotus Mahal. Picture based question आते हैं, इसलिए ये थोड़ा note कर लेना, बहुत अच्छा picture है ये. So one suggestion, लेकिन we have a lot of suggestion by the Britishers. One suggestion found in a map drawn by Mackenzie is that it may have been the council chamber, a place where the king met his advisors. हो सकता है ये ऐसा एक स्ट्रक्चर, ऐसा एक बिल्डिंग है जहाँ पे ये काउंसिल ऑफ मेंबर्स, काउंसिल चैम्बर हो सकता है, जहाँ पे किंग यूज्ड टू सिट एंड मीट हिज एडवाइजर्स, मिनिस्टर्स, हो सकता है. While most temples are located in the next we are getting into another thing, okay. So that is about Lotus Mahal और कुछ नहीं है. Lotus Mahal के बारे में, the name, it was named by British travelers, not by the Vijayanagara Empire rulers, but the why it is used even today we are not very sure. इसमें से एक अच्छा वन मार्कर बन सकता है, थोड़ा कंफ्यूज भी कर सकते हैं आपको. So you have to understand the concept very very clearly. Fine. While most of the temples are located in the sacred center only, which we will be studying in the next topic, there were several temples in the royal center as well. हमने पहले ही बोला था 60 odd temples are there. Almost 60 temples in royal center में भी हैं. ठीक है? So this picture and all, it's about this is about Hazara Raja temple, from which we are going to. One of the most spectacular of this. So many temples are there, लेकिन उसमें एक spectacular, very fantastic, very beautiful temple है, वो Hazara Rama temple. It is Hazara Rama temple is located not in the sacred center, but it is located in the royal center. This is a very very important one marker. So royal center में जो very famous and spectacular एक temple है, वो है Hazara Rama temple. This was probably meant to be used only by the king and his family. ये भी एक important line to be underlined. Only by the king and his family. These images in the central shrine are missing. The images central shrine, however, sculpted panels on the wall survive. This includes scenes of the Ramayana, also inner walls of the shrine. Okay, some of the sculpture made in the wall, Ramayana stores में Ramayana के बारे में sculptures बनाया हुआ है. While many of these structures in Vijayanagara were destroyed when the city was sacked, traditions of building palatial structures are continued by even Nayakas. Making palaces, वो नायकास बाद में विजयनगर एम्पायर का डिस्ट्रॉय होने के बाद भी वो कंटिन्यू कर रहे थे, and many of the buildings have survived. Okay. So that is all about urban royal center. So we have completed, you can say, a long answer. Otherwise short answer के रूप में देखें तो महानवमी दिब्बा बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. अदरवाइज इसमें वन मार्कर, बहुत सारे वन मार्कर बन सकते हैं रॉयल सेंटर में. I think I have explained you sufficiently. So we are moving to the next topic, that is the sacred center. Sacred meaning something very holy. Sacred meaning not secret, it is sacred. Sacred center meaning very holy. So, choosing a capital. So, how Vijayanagara Empire became a capital? Okay, how this place became a place of rulers. Now, this is near to the northern end of the city. You have the river banks of Tungabhadra, where sacred center is located near the banks of Tungabhadra. According to the local tradition, see local traditions कहता है, इसलिए ये सब चीजें ठीक है. These hills and the northern side sheltered the monkey kingdom of Wali and Shugriva. Okay, so there is a monkey kingdom of Wali and Shugriva mentioned in Ramayana. You have that is why we have Hanuman. We have this monkey monkey kingdom of Wali and Shugriva mentioned in Ramayana. तो ये hills उस किंगडम को शेल्टर देता था. Hills in Vijayanagara, that northern side of Vijayanagara Empire. Other traditions suggest that Pamba Devi, the local mother goddesses, did penance in these hills in order to marry Virubaksha, the guardian deity of the kingdom, also recognized as the form of Lord Shiva. So, a second tradition. Okay, so these are the traditions telling that today that we have Vijayanagara Empire having all this sacred center because the traditions are telling them to have these temples for these gods. So that is these are the reasons why they are having temples in the sacred center in their kingdom. Now इसमें बहुत सारे वन मार्कर है एक है कि पांबा देवी is the local goddesses she is the one who they can ask which was that goddesses who did penance to marry Virubaksha and Virubaksha is the form of Lord Shiv बहुत important question है ये okay Virubaksha temple and Virubaksha is a god of of the kingdom and he is not Vishnu but Lord Shiva. To this day, the marriage between Pamba Devi and Virubaksha, celebrated annually in the Virubaksha temple. Even today, every year they have a celebration feast on this. Among these hills are found Jaina temples also and all that. Okay, fine. Jaina temples also. कौन मार्कर में एक statement हो सकता है. These hills only temples of Hinduism found. No, even among these hills, in the northern side, even Jaina temples and of the pre-Vijayanagara period as well today found there. The temple building in the region had a very long history going back to dynasty like Pallavas, Chalukyas, Hoysalas, Cholas and all that. Before इनसे पहले जो rulers थे वो लोग भी हमने पढ़ा था no they had been constructing temples and rulers very often encourage temple building as a means of associating themselves with the divine. We talked about this. They build temples because they associate themselves with the divine and often the deity was explicitly or implicitly identified with the king. Okay, so that is also very important. No, the king identifies, no, and deity has to be identified with the king. They make themselves. Temples also function the center of learning. Besides rulers and others, granted land and other resources for the maintenance of the temples. ये सब बहुत पहले भी हमने बहुत पढ़ा है. फिर भी ये sentence थोड़ा याद कर लेना. No, why temple is an important activity. Okay, sacred center के बारे में हम पढ़ रहे हैं. तो इसलिए why temple is becoming an important activity, why temple is being made an important space in any empire. So this is the reason, especially South India. Consequently, temples developed as a significant religious, social, and cultural and economic center. From this point, the rulers constructing, repairing, maintaining temples an important means of winning support and recognition for their power. इसलिए वो लोगों से अपना recognition पाने के लिए वो करते हैं. Okay, wealth and piety. Piety means their spirituality. It is likely, okay, it is यहाँ पे बहुत important है. It is likely that the site of Vijayanagara was inspired by the existence of shrines of Virubaksha and Pamba Devi. इसलिए विजयनगरा को एक कैपिटल के रूप में एक मेन प्लेस के रूप में दिस रूलर्स चोज विजयनगरा एज देयर देयर प्लेस because the existence of these shrines called Virubaksha and Pamba Devi, ये दोनों temples यहाँ होने के कारण ये लोग इसको select किए होंगे. That is why they chose Vijayanagara as the capital because the temples like Vijayanagara and Pamba Devi, Virubaksha and Pamba Devi found here. In fact, Vijayanagara kings claimed to rule on behalf of the god Virubaksha. बहुत important one marker है. They claimed themselves as the we are ruling you on behalf of God Virbaksha. All royal orders were signed not assigned, signed Shri Virbaksha only. वहाँ पे नीचे साइन करने के नीचे undersigned क्या होता है Shri Virbaksha. Usually the Kannada script. Rulers also indicated there the close links with the gods by using the title called Hindu Suratrana. Suratrana is the Sanskritization of Arabic term called Sultan. ये one marker है. So sometimes they used to use the a title like this one Krishna Devaraya Hindu Suratrana means the Sultan of the Hindu. So that is the meaning of Hindu Suratrana. So it is Kannada में लिखा हुआ है. So even the kings every time when they sign they sign that Shri Virbaksha करके sign करते हैं meaning that it literally means Hindu Sultan. ये पैराग्राफ बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है वन मार्कर के लिए एज वेल एज आंसर में आएगा. सर आंसर में क्या लिखना है? सी सेक्रेट सेंटर के बारे में क्वेश्चन आया चूजिंग द कैपिटल लिख के आपको द ट्रेडिशन ट्रू ट्रेडिशंस के बारे में आपको लिखना है. Then you directly come to this one. Temple building activity is one of the main function of the rulers, even before even during the time Pallavas, Chalukyas, and Hoysalas and Cholas, and they identify themselves with the divine, and they say temples function as a center of learning and all that. Like it is a significant religious, social, cultural, economic centers temple. So they maintain this, and they give the, in order to win the support of the people, they maintain and construct and repair the temple. ये इतना लिखना पड़ेगा. Then and the very existence of the capital Vijayanagara here, choosing the Vijayanagara as the capital, it's because of the existence of shrines like Veerubaksha and Pamba Devi. देन ये वाला आपको ये भी लिखना पड़ेगा, गॉड वीर प्रसाद 8 मार्कर के लिए हम पढ़ रहे हैं, ठीक है. सो दिस इज अबाउट दिस वन, ओके. ये इफ यू डोंट वांट टू राइट दिस, नो प्रॉब्लम, 1 मार्कर के लिए आप ये पैराग्राफ पूरा 1 मार्कर रख लेना. Even as they draw, on earlier traditions, rulers of Vijayanagara innovated and developed this royal portrait sculpture are now displayed in temples and all that. Fine, ये paragraph you can leave out. That paragraph is not so important. Now this is the aerial view of the Virupaksha temple. Okay, picture based question के लिए बहुत अच्छा picture है ये, aerial view of the Virupaksha temple. Now gopurams and mandapas. So this is second, choosing the capital हो गया. In that you have to write minimum 4 or 5 points. Now gopurams and mandapas, in this we are going to study two important temples. Okay, we will be studying about Virupaksha temple and Vitala temple. Okay, उससे पहले हम थोड़ा देख लेते हैं what is written there. See, in terms of the temple architecture, by this period, certain new features were emerged. This include the immense scale that my imperial authority exemplified. Raya Gopurams. Gopurams were being introduced in the temple architecture, and royal gateways also. So, royal gopurams and royal gateways. These are the two things where this gateways dwarfed मतलब छोटा कर दिया. वो इतना बड़ा टावर हो जाता है कि अंदर का जो श्राइन होता है ना, वो हमको बाहर से नहीं दिखता. वंस यू गेट इनटू दैट गेटवे, तभी आपको इतना बड़ा टेम्पल दिखता. बिकॉज गेटवे इज सच ह्यूज गेटवे, एंड इट जस्ट dwarfs, it just hides the inner central shrine जो अंदर है, वो हमें अंदर जाने के बाद भी पता चलता है. So these are the two key words you have to, gopurams and gateways. So this is lining up. This is about Kalyana Mandapam. Okay, Mandapam meant to celebrate the divine weddings. That is the marriage between Pamba Devi and Virupaksha. Okay, so they were also very probably meant as the reminders of the power of kings able to command the resources, techniques, and skills needed to construct the. तो इसलिए बनाया होगा कि किंग्स का उसका जो पावर है, प्लस उनके पास इतना टेक्निक्स, रिसोर्सेस है, स्किल्स है उनके लोगों के पास, इसलिए वो गेटवेज, टावरिंग गेटवेज बनाए होंगे. अनदर डिस्टिंक्टिव फीचर्स that include mandapas or pavilions and long pillared corridors that often ran around temple complex. This is about mandapas. Okay, so mandapams, gateways. Third one is mandapas. See, we are studying about the temple architecture by Vijayanagara. A separate question: temple architecture of Vijayanagara. Gopurams, royal gateways, then mandapas. Mandapas are nothing but a hall like structure. Okay, long pillared corridors. We have the picture here, figure 7.23. ये वाला आपका मंडपा, ठीक है. So let us look at this, the temple, very closely. Virupaksha temple. So these are the three temple architecture that were introduced during this Vijayanagara Empire during the time. Okay, royal gopurams, royal gateways, and royal mandapas. Okay, mandapas or pavilions. Now we are going to study Veerupaksha temple. ये separate question आ सकते हैं Veerupaksha temple के बारे में. It was built over the centuries. While inscriptions suggest that the earliest shrine dated 9th to 10th centuries, it was substantially enlarged with the establishment of Vijayanagara Empire. The hall in front of the main, ये okay, तो वो एक लाइन में लिख लेना, 9th to 10th century में बनाया गया, बस that's it, उससे ज्यादा नहीं लिखना. फर्स्ट लाइन. सेकंड, ये पूरा इंपॉर्टेंट है. The hall in front of the main shrine was built by Krishna Devaraya. तो मेन श्राइन जहाँ पे वीरभक्षा लॉर्ड शिव को रखते हैं, वहां के जस्ट सामने एक हॉल बनाया गया, and that was constructed by Krishna Devaraya. Why he constructed? That is the question. To mark his accession, to mark he becoming the king. उसको मार्क करने के लिए, उसको बताने के लिए he built this hall. Okay. and this was decorated with delicately carved pillars. Okay, he is also credited for construction of eastern gopuram. एक गोपुरम ईस्टर्न साइड में वीरभक्षा टेम्पल में ईस्टर्न साइड में गोपुरम है, वो कृष्णदेवराय ने बनाया. These were additions meant that central shrine came to occupy relatively smaller part of the कॉम्प्लेक्स. तो इतना कुछ बना अंदर कॉम्प्लेक्स में बनाया है, इसलिए वो सेंटर श्राइन बहुत छोटा दिखना हमको दिखता है कि बहुत छोटा है. सी इफ यू सी दिस टेम्पल एरियल व्यू देखते हैं तो इट इज नॉट अ स्मॉल वन जस्ट वन टेम्पल, इट इज सो मेनी थिंग्स आर देयर इनसाइड. So this whole thing is the Veerabaksha temple only. So this is the gateway, and this is the Gopuram, and you must have the audience hall and the hall everything there inside. Okay, so that is about the Veerabaksha temple. We are studying Veerabaksha temple. It was constructed in 9th to 10th century, and the hall in front of the shrine was constructed by Krishna Devaraya to mark his succession, and he also constructed the eastern gopuram. Okay, the halls in the temple were used. Why the halls in the temple? Why they were used? Variety of purposes. Okay, what are the purposes the halls were used? Okay, some were spaces which images gods were placed to witness special programs. So there were some spaces where images of God were placed. Why gods were placed in the hall? अब मेन श्राइन में गॉड को होना चाहिए, लेकिन यहाँ हॉल में भी है. क्यों? टू विटनेस द स्पेशल प्रोग्राम्स ऑफ म्यूजिक, डांस एंड ड्रामा. भगवान को भी आके डांस ड्रामा सब देख के उनको एंटरटेनमेंट करना है, इसलिए. Others were used to celebrate the marriages of deities, and yet others were meant for the deities to swing in. So many halls are there. कुछ हॉल्स ऐसे हैं जहाँ पे भगवान को रखे, मूर्ति इमेजेस रखे हैं, जहाँ पे वो प्रोग्राम सब कुछ होता है देखने के लिए. जहाँ कहीं मतलब मैरिजेस, दैट मैरिज बिटवीन नो विताला एंड सॉरी पांबा देवी एंड वीरभक्षा टेम्पल, वीरभक्षा लॉर्ड शिव, एंड वो सेलिब्रेट करने के लिए. ऐसा कुछ कुछ हॉल्स है जहाँ पे गॉड्स को अपने टाइम स्पेंड करने के लिए. And special images distinct from these kept in the small shrine. मतलब ये images totally different from the shrine, the image that is kept in the central shrine. ये भी आपको नोट करना पड़ेगा कि दोनों सब इमेज एक जैसा नहीं है. सेंट्रल श्राइन में जो है वो लॉर्ड शिव का वीरभक्षा वो अलग है, और अलग हॉल्स में जो इमेजेस है वो टोटली डिफरेंट है. सो हॉल्स, द पर्पस ऑफ हॉल्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. अगेन ये सब वीरभक्षा के ऊपर एक क्वेश्चन आएगा. सो ये सर क्वेश्चन क्या लिखना है? सो डोंट राइट अ क्वेश्चन सेक्रेट सेंटर में ही ये सब लिखना, लेकिन हेडिंग डाल के लिखना. लाइक सेक्रेट सेंटर में पहले हमने चूजिंग द कैपिटल के लिए 4-4-5 पॉइंट्स हमने लिखा. देन इसके बाद हमने नो टेम्पल आर्किटेक्चर करके एक हेडिंग डालना, और उसमें 3 यू हैव टू टॉक अबाउट नो राया गोपुरम्स एंड रॉयल गेटवेज एंड मंडपास. Then we talked about now we are put the heading Veerabaksha temple, in which we talked about when it was constructed and why no hall built by Krishna Devaraya and all that. Now the halls, the purpose of halls in Veerabaksha temple. Fine, I think I am able to make sense to you. Okay, swing. This is swing pavilion from Jinji. This is a place in Jinji only, that Veerabaksha temple के आसपास ही है. So now this one. Now this is चैरियट. दिस इज अ विताला टेम्पल. विताला टेम्पल में एक चैरियट है, वो विताला टेम्पल का चैरियट है. ठीक है, ये इमेज भी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. 7.24 हम विताला टेम्पल के बारे में अभी नीचे पढ़ेंगे. सो दैट इज इंपॉर्टेंट. ओके, चैरियट. Now another shrine is Vitala temple, is also very interesting. Here the principal deity is Vitala, a form of Lord Vishnu. बहुत important है ये. Veerabaksha is a form of Lord Shiva, and Vitala is a form of generally worshipped in Maharashtra. Okay, Lord Vishnu Vitala को महाराष्ट्र में worship करते हैं, but the temple, very famous temple, is constructed here. The introduction of the worship of the deity in Karnataka is another indication of the ways in which ruler Vijayanagara different from tradition create imperial culture. Okay, as in the case of another temple, several halls and all that, everything, any other temple, several halls and unique shrine. Even that shrine designed as chariot. Main shrine जो है वो chariot के रूप में हमने जो अभी देखा था. The characteristic feature of the temple complexes is that, what is the main characteristic is that the chariot streets that extended from the temple, the chariot street, chariot जिस तरफ है वहाँ पे एक street है, that street has lot of stone slabs, and उसमें pillar pavilion, उसमें merchants बैठ के अपना shops रखते हैं. So it is like चैरियट स्ट्रीट कहते हैं उसको. टेम्पल से थोड़ा बाहर जाता है, टेम्पल मेन श्राइन के बाहर एक टेम्पल एक स्ट्रीट जाता है. वो स्ट्रीट के दोनों तरफ स्टोन स्लैब्स में पिलर एरेक्ट करके लोग बैठ के उसमें मर्चेंट्स बैठ के शॉप चलाते हैं. सो मेनी शॉप्स आर देयर फॉर द पीपल दोस हु कम to worship. They can buy the things and all that. So that is the main characteristic of this temple. This temple complexes that Vitala temple का complex में एक main unique feature है. Just as the Nayakas continued with this tradition of fortification and building construction, spectacular gopurams were built even by the local Nayakas. One best example is the longest gopuram in Asia, you can say, is this gopuram built by a Nayaka. Nayakas, know that the people who continued after the decline of Vijayanagara Empire, these Nayakas continued. They started ruling in a small areas. तो मदुरै एरिया में तमिलनाडु में एक नायका रूल कर रहा था. He built this gopuram. This is a very big gopuram in this one. What is that? Meenakshi temple in Madurai. So this is the example. After this also they continued this. Vitala temple के लिए हमारे पास बहुत ज़्यादा नहीं है लिखने के लिए. Only two things you have to write. One is it is a principal deity is Vitala, form of Vishnu worshipped in Maharashtra, and this one main characteristic is the temple complex chariot street that has extended from the temple gopuram in a straight line. Temple gopuram से ये street extend करता है और वहाँ पे stone slabs होते हैं जिसमें merchants बैठ के अपना shop चलाते हैं. So that is it. Last ये नायकास आप लिखने की जरूरत नहीं है, but remember anywhere they have mentioned in the question, you should be able to identify this. So I think Sacred Center can be a long answer, Royal Center can be a long answer, and fortification of Vijayanagara Empire can be a long answer. So three different long answers. Then apogee and the decline of the Vijayanagara Empire can be a long answer and short answer कुछ भी हो सकता है. Then we talked about even Amaranayaka system can be a short answer. Water resources के बारे में हमने पढ़ा था, that can be a very short answer. So many short answers, and it also has got so many small answers. Now plotting the places, temples and bazaars. This topic is not so but no, not so important. But you need to know what is there inside also. How all everything started, how they started excavating and finding out archaeology कैसे यहाँ पे excavation कैसे start हुआ. So it all started after the initial survey by Mackenzie. He was the first one who started information shared with all, and with the travelers accounts everything. Now the site was preserved by Archaeological Survey of India and the Karnataka Department of Archaeology and Museum. In 1976, Hampi was recognized as the national importance. Hampi is the village where all this Vitala, Virupaksha and all these temple complexes are there. Temple का बहुत सारे temple एक साथ वहाँ पे बहुत so many temples are there. Main two temples Vitala and Virupaksha temple. So Hampi as a temple architecture is given national importance. Okay, so world in heritage site दिया गया Hampi को. Okay, 1976 is an important one marker. In the 1980s, the important project was launched to document the material remains of all that. Extensive and intensive surveys all done over almost 20 years. Dozen scholars all they worked to compile all this. Let us look how they did this. That is the thing that you need to know. वन मार्कर के लिए अभी तक जो भी है वन मार्कर के लिए है, और ये टॉपिक पूरा वन मार्कर के लिए, ठीक है. Now how they did, they started mapping it. First step was to divide the entire area into 25 squares. 25 स्क्वायर में इसको कन्वर्ट किया. ABCD यहाँ पे दिया हुआ 25. Now 25 squares, each designated by a letter of alphabet. Then each small square was subdivided, and that smaller into और small को और subdivide करके smaller units में. So they have now divided, subdivided, and subdivided and subdivided. Thus they have a very small area to excavate and find out, and they have extremely with painstaking effort. They have recorded and documented all the traces and thousands of structures from all these tiny shrines and residences to elaborate the temples and all that. So this is how they were able to trace all these roads, paths, and bazaars and all that. So this is the topic is how did they plot the palaces, temples, and bazaars? How they were able to collect all these informations by dividing, subdividing, and subdividing and subdividing. So this is how they did, and a lot of people with their painstaking effort they made it possible. So this is the least important topic, but yeah, you need to read at least once or twice for your one marker. Fine. I think with this we are bringing this chapter to an end. Okay, these lines are not so important. You can leave these lines. Okay. Yeah, some names are mentioned. Let us see what is. It is worth remembering something that John M. Fritz, George and George Mitchell, M.S. Nagaraja Rao, who worked for years, wrote that in our study these monuments, okay, they are telling that in our study these monuments of Vijayanagara, we have to imagine a whole series of vanished wooden elements, columns, brackets, beams, ceilings, overhangings, and towers decorated with plaster and painted perhaps brightly. So they are telling all the things are vanished, all these things are vanished. And John M. Fritz, George Mitchell, and M.S. Nagaraja Rao, so these are some of the archaeologists who worked very hard to find out, bring a lot of information about Vijayanagara Empire. Fine. The last one, the bazaar, the source 5, Pius is giving a vivid description about this, a clear description about bazaar. He is telling that it is a beautiful street where you can buy everything, pearls, se leke, seeds, se leke, clothes, everything you can buy. And it is one of the finest, best provided city in the world, stocked with the provisions like rice, wheat, grains, India corn, and a certain amount of barley and beans, moong, pulses. Everything is, pomegranate, jackfruit. Everything is sold here. So please read. Okay, this Bisnaga means Vijayanagara only. Questions in search of answers not so important. We are leaving out this topic. So with this, we have come to the conclusion of the chapter. Let me just quickly tell you some of the important topics: apogee and decline of the Vijayanagara Empire, then the Amaranayaka system, then talking about fortifications, talking about water resources, talking about royal center, talking about the sacred center. In sacred center, we have three architecture. We have choosing the capital. We have Vijayanagara Empire. We have Veerbaksha temple. We have Vitala temple. इस सब के बारे में हमने पढ़ा था. रॉयल सेंटर में हमने तीन इंपॉर्टेंट स्ट्रक्चर्स देखे: ऑडियंस हॉल, महानवमी दिब्बा, and the last one is Lotus Mahal. Then Hazara Rama temple, which is part of royal center, not part of sacred center, which is meant only for the kings and his family. So all these things in nutshell, this is what we have seen, and this is an important chapter and very interesting chapter. If you watch the videos very carefully and read your book every line, and you will enjoy this. Okay, so with this explanation, I call this chapter as an end. And till I see you in the live session on Wednesday, all of you please take care, study well, bye bye.